I watched the shadows stretch across my living room floor this morning, and for the first time, the stillness didn't feel heavy. It felt like a confession. I am 80 years old today. In this stage of life, silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's a mirror. Over 8 decades, I've watched cities rise and fall, and I've watched the world reinvent itself a dozen times. But the hardest thing I've watched is the departure. My parents, my brothers, my oldest rivals, and the woman who promised to be the anchor of my soul, they have all stepped out of the frame. I am the last one left in the room. When you reach 80, you realize you've become an observer of a game you no longer play. I see the younger generation rushing past, their eyes fixed on glowing screens, their hearts heavy with anxieties that, from my perspective, look like autumn leaves caught in a breeze, important for a moment, then gone. People often look at me with a sort of quiet tragedy in their eyes, as if surviving everyone else is a curse. But there is a profound secret to being 80 that no one mentions. When the noise of the world finally fades, what's left isn't emptiness, it is the core. If you are still climbing your mountain, listen. If you are near the top with me, let's rest for a moment. I want to tell you about the things that don't evaporate when the lights go down and the invitations stop coming. This is what remains. The first lesson I learned is the great illusion we never truly own a single thing. In my middle years, I measured my worth by the thickness of my walls and the titles on my office door. I protected my legacy as if it were carved in stone. But at 80, I look at my open palms and realize I was only ever a temporary guardian. I've seen the companies I bled for forget my name within a year of my retirement. I've seen the permanent homes I built sold to families who don't know I ever existed. What remains isn't the prize you clutched, it's the person you became while you were reaching for it. I realize now that the people we love are not possessions, they are visitors. We don't own our partners or our children. We are simply lucky enough to share a stretch of the road with them. When you stop trying to possess people and start simply witnessing them, the pain of their eventual exit changes. It transforms from the bitterness of being robbed into the quiet honor of having been a host to their light. What remains is the kindness you gave away, because that is the only currency that doesn't devalue when the market of life closes. When you're young, you live for the milestones, the degree, the promotion, the someday when you'll finally be happy. Spend your life staring at the finish line. But at 80, I see that life isn't the destination, it's the dust on your shoes from the journey. If I could go back, I wouldn't work harder for more success. I would work harder at noticing. I would hold the warmth of a coffee cup longer. I would watch the rain with the intensity of someone watching a masterpiece. What remains at the end of a long life is a mosaic of tiny, insignificant moments that, when viewed from here, turn out to be the entire picture. One of the most terrifying things about everyone leaving is the confrontation with yourself. We are a society that uses busyness as a shield. But when the house goes quiet and the career ends, you are trapped with a stranger, the person inside you. Most people spend 80 years running from that meeting. But at 80, your legs are too tired to run, so you sit. And in that sitting, I found a fortress. What remains is your internal landscape. If you haven't tended to your soul, old age will feel like a desert. But if you have, it becomes a garden. I've learned to forgive the boy I was at 20 and the fool I was at 45. What remains is a profound peace with the man in the glass. You realize you were the companion you were looking for all along. People ask about my regrets. Of course I have them. Only a person who never lived has no regrets. But there is a massive difference between regret and remorse. I regret the risks I buried under the weight of fear. I regret the I love yous I choked back because of a fragile ego. But what remains as the sharpest sting is the memory of the times I chose being right over being kind. We waste so much life winning arguments. We protect our pride as if it were a treasure. But as the names in my phone get fewer and fewer, I see that being right is the loneliest trophy in the world. Kindness was always the answer, no matter what the question was. If there is someone you are holding a grudge against, Let it go. Not for them, but for the version of you that will one day sit in a quiet house. One day the score won't matter, but the empty seat at the table will. There is a strange beauty in seeing the world continue without you. I see the teenagers with their new languages and their frantic dreams. At first it felt like being left behind, but then I realized it's supposed to be this way. What remains is the role of the witness. I am here to cheer for the cycle. I see my granddaughter smile and I see the echoes of my own mother. I realize I am just one thread in a tapestry that stretches back to the beginning of time. There is a massive freedom in letting go of the need to be the main character. What remains is the joy of seeing the story continue, knowing your chapter was written with love. So what is left when the world moves on? Gratitude. A deep, aching gratitude for the impossible luck of being born, that I got to feel the sun, that I got to love, even if it ended in loss, that I saw 29,200 sunrises. I am 80, and I'm not afraid of the shadows anymore. I've realized the light doesn't disappear, it just moves on to illuminate someone else's morning. If you're listening to this, don't wait for your 80th birthday to find what remains. Look for it in the breath you are taking right now. Look for it in the person standing next to you. Thank you for spending a few minutes on my porch today. If these words found a home in your heart, please share them with someone you care about. Subscribe to join us for more reflections on this beautiful, fleeting journey. And please, leave a comment. Tell me, what is one thing you've learned to value as the years go by? I read them all. It makes the house feel a little more like home.